Welcome to the first ever episode of the Women Leaders Association podcast. I'm your host, Julianne Kirkland, and each week I will be bringing you segments from previously recorded speeches from our nationwide live events by top women executives, trailblazers, entrepreneurs, and all-around fierce female leaders. The Women Leaders Association is the world's largest women executives association with over 30,000 women in executive and leadership positions who are committed to the development and advancement of women in the corporate arena. If you would like to get involved in a Women Leaders Association chapter, would enjoy daily podcasts, or you want to join one of our women's mastermind groups, simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com. This may be our first podcast episode ever, but we are no spring chickens when it comes to leadership content, because this show is powered by the Women Leaders Association, which exists to help high-achieving, successful women by giving them the tools, strategies, and network needed to master their work without sacrificing what matters most. We believe that by empowering and equipping women to thrive in the modern workforce, companies and organizations will achieve new levels of success and excel in ways previously unimagined. So, you're in good hands. After each segment, I'll be taking you on a deep dive to further equip you with the principles, strategies, and tools you need to start crushing your goals, increasing your impact, creating work-life harmony, and have more fun. Because when you love what you do it better. On this episode, you will hear a segment from Tracy Toole's speech on what it takes to envision yourself as a leader while overcoming self-doubt and imposter syndrome. Tracy is the Senior Vice President of Flight Crew Operations at Allegiant and is responsible for a team of over 2,800 people. Tracy is currently a member of the Women's Executive Circle in Las Vegas and Women Aviation International. Let's listen in as Tracy shares her wisdom on how she overcame self-doubt and how you can too.
So when you think of a leader, what do you envision? And I'm thinking of some of the things Rhonda just said. So what environment do you envision? Do you want to be in an office? Do you want to work with people? Do you want to work from home? Do you want to work in a factory? There's lots of options for women these days, right? What appearance do you envision? We just talked about our authentic self, right? But do you want to wear the 3-piece suit? Some of us do. Do you want to wear the jogger set working from home? Some of us want that too, right? How about a little bit in the middle? Business casual. Some of us are doing that today as well. And then when you think about the leader that you envision, you think about who, because there's a lot of them out there, right? So you think of people like Condoleezza Rice, who's in politics. Look at Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube. And then there's Bethany Frankel. Everybody know Bethany? Skinny girl, right? She went out on her own venture. And then, of course, there's that glass ceiling that we have to think about, right? No matter what role we're in, we probably have to deal with a little bit of this, right? Look at some of these women who have gone there before us. Pam Smith, Chief of the United States Park Police. You've got Amy Strunk, owner of the Tennessee Titans. And then you've got Mary, CEO of General Motors. Those aren't positions that you would normally think of for women leaders, right? But they did it. They found a way to become the leader that they envisioned. So what do you envision for yourself? Lots to think about, right? So you think about the environment. Where do you want to work? Your area of interest. There's lots of opportunities. There's healthcare. The airline business I'm going to talk a little bit about today. Maybe it is technology. What about your personality? Rhonda just said, be who you are, right? Find something that fits your personality. Do you like to work with people? Do you not like to work with people? Do you want to be independent? That's okay too. Appearance. How do you want to look every day? Maybe you don't want to put on the makeup and the high heels. I don't want to put on the high heels for sure. And then, of course, there's those glass ceilings. Got to think about that too, right? So I'm going to start by walking you through my journey. I've only got 20 minutes to do this, so I'm going to keep it moving, okay? But I do think it's important to share with each other lessons learned, because we can all learn from each other's experiences. So I'm going to start with my educational background. I earned a BA in communications from Wisconsin Lutheran College. It was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And when I graduated, I was doing a job that I wasn't so proud of. Now, don't let your minds wander. It wasn't anything like that. I was actually one of those cold call people where I called someone and said, guess what? You won a big prize. And in order to claim that prize, you've got to drive about 3 hours, go visit a resort, take a tour of a condo, and then you get your prize. Remember those jobs? Yeah, my parents were not too proud of me for that. So they told me I better start looking for a new job. So I thought, what do? I'm just out of college. I haven't really done this before. Remember, this is many years ago. Social media really didn't exist. So I remembered when I was a senior in college, I was invited to join a luncheon. And the luncheon was put on by women leaders in Milwaukee. It was called Tempo. And so I sat at a table, just like you're all sitting at today. And the lady sitting next to me was the marketing director for Midwest Airlines. It's an airline that was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So she gave me her business card. And so here I am looking for a job. And I pulled out that business card and I made a phone call. And I said, I'm looking for a job. Do you remember me? She said, I remember you. We have jobs. The only job we have available right now is that of a flight attendant. Would you be interested? And I thought, well, I kind of wanted to get into the marketing department, but okay, if this is my way in the door, sure, I'll go for it. I'll be a flight attendant, right? So when I showed up at the open house, I don't know if any of you have participated in these, but it was an open house where there's 100 of competitors for the job of flight attendant. And when I left that open house, I called my parents and I said, don't get excited. I'm not going to get an offer. The people that showed up at this job looked like they were amazing. The hair was done, the suits were on, the nylons, the heels, the nails, the makeup, everything was perfect. And I thought, I'm just not going to fit in. That's not me. So I set my parents up for what I thought was going to be a denied offer, right? Well, they did offer me the job. And so I started my career in the airline industry as a flight attendant. So some things I want to share, sharing insights with all of you and what I learned through that part of my journey. Seek opportunities. When invited, go. Don't be afraid to ask and network. So seek opportunities. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I needed to find something else. I didn't want to stay where I was. So I made the conscious decision to go seek something else. When invited, go. You were all invited to be here today. Look at the fabulous women that you're sitting next to. When you have those opportunities and people invite you, take advantage of it. Go meet people. Don't be afraid to ask. I pulled out the business card. I called. Do you have a job? Don't be afraid to ask. We as women oftentimes think, don't want to ask anything, right? The guys, they've got more confidence. They'll ask the questions. No. Things are different. You make sure you ask. And then lastly, network. Don't forget the business card. Don't forget the contacts of people that you know. Keep those phone numbers. Stay in touch with people. Stay on LinkedIn, right? Update your profile. So I had an amazing 15 years career with Midwest Airlines. Started out as a flight attendant, eventually moved my way into being an instructor, found my way over on the operations side, being a supervisor, manager, and then eventually director of in-flight services. Some things I learned in my 15-year career with Midwest: seek mentorship to become better, consider that next step, and don't let failure stop you. So the first one's really important. I found 2 women that worked at Midwest Airlines that were in high-level positions, and I became their friends. I wanted to learn from them. They had much more experience than I did. They had a lot of opportunities to deal with different situations that I hadn't had yet. So I asked them to mentor me, and I learned so much from them. I asked to sit in their staff meetings so I could see how they facilitated their staff meetings. I asked to be a part of when they gave a presentation. I wanted to see how they handled themselves. And I learned so much from those 2 women. Considering your next step. When I was a flight attendant, 2 years later, I wanted that next job, the instructor. 2 years later, I wanted to be a supervisor. 2 years later, I'm going for the manager job. So you got to see what the line in sight is for what opportunities you want to be when you envision that leader. And don't let failure stop you. I had a lot of these. I tried 3 times to become an instructor. They told me no the first 2 times and said, you just don't have the experience. You've got everything else. You just don't have the experience. So I got the experience. I kept trying to get better. And then the 3rd time I was offered that position. So now we're at this point, professional journey. Now what's in it for me? I kind of got to the peak where I could at Midwest Airlines. And there was another opportunity. So here's what happened. A headhunter called me and said, "Hey, Tracy, not sure if you're interested, but we've got a VP level position opening up. It's at Comair, which is the Delta Airlines subsidiary based in Cincinnati, Ohio. What do you think?" And of course I was like, well, yeah, VP level. Wow, of course. Yeah, I'm interested. As soon as I hung up the phone, what do we as women do? We start self-doubting, right? And I remember going back and looking at the notes on my paper after I hung up the phone with the headhunter. And I kept thinking, did he really say VP? Really? That level? Really? They're thinking about me? Why would they think about me? We as women self-doubt, right?
Whoa. Okay. Hey, ladies, we're going to stop right there. Have you been picking up what Tracy's been throwing down? Grab a pen and paper and let's go deeper. Unless, of course, you're driving. Then hands at 10 and 2. But right off the bat, I began to wonder, when was the last time I actually took time to envision the kind of leader that I want to become? And perhaps you're like me, and we get so busy being busy doing all the things for work and all the things for life, that we kind of become robotic about the whole leadership journey. And unless I'm on the dance floor, being robotic is not fun. I mean, think about it. At the end of the day, this journey of life that we are all on, it shouldn't be valued by the number of checkboxes on our to-do list. We are meant to live a life to the fullest, and that includes your work life. So taking the time to envision the kind of leader you want to become, the kind of friend, the kind of spouse, the kind of mom, the kind of woman you want to become is actually one of the best uses of our time. If we don't take time to envision the beauty of what we want out of our lives, we will most likely breeze right past it on the way to achieving the next goal. And if we get so caught up in achieving and we forget to pay attention to who we are becoming, no wonder self-doubt and imposter syndrome seem to be an inherent obstacle to overcome for all leading ladies. Imposter syndrome rears her ugly face when who we are doesn't match the best version of ourselves that we are trying to present to the world. For example, when I wrote my first book, I had all kinds of imposter thoughts trying to creep in and keep me down. Thoughts like, who's going to want to read this? Why would people want to hear from you? And my favorite, you have never written a book before. What makes you think you can do it? And the whole "you have never done something before" phrase that comes up for almost every single person that's embarking on the voyage of developing something new is that, of course, you've never done it before. That's why it's new. But how many times have you let that phrase stop you from taking a chance, beginning something new, leveling up? How many times have you let that phrase keep you exactly where you are now? Think about it. If all the great innovators of our world listen to that phrase, "You can't because you haven't yet," we would have nothing new. Not a thing. Self-doubt and imposter syndrome are 1000% a normal response to wanting more out of life. Like now, if I'm doing something new and I don't experience it, I'm like, wait, let's keep that in check. Something's going on. I'm not going big enough. So what are you supposed to do about it? If every time you want to level up, if every time you want to go for something bigger, and imposter syndrome's going to show up. What are you to do about it? I got 3 things for you. Number 1, understand that those thoughts are a part of the process, and they are just that, thoughts. Our thoughts are what create our feelings. And the majority of people have succumbed to the belief that, well, if it doesn't produce good feelings, then I'm out. But the truth is, feelings are feelings. They're not facts. When you learn to create the discipline needed to get out of your own way, you develop the necessary toolkit to overcome those sabotaging thoughts and feelings. Okay, number 2, get around those who go bigger. Tracy said it herself. Seek mentorship. Learn from those who are living the life you are trying to create. Y'all, I am not ashamed to say that I pay good money to be in rooms with women of higher caliber lives. And because I paid to be in those rooms, and they're typically in the form of masterminds, I become friends with other women who have also paid to be in those rooms. And I have therefore created a super arsenal of badass boss babe friends. The kind of friends who get it. The ones that encourage you to keep going. The ones who help you navigate that next level terrain. The kind of friends that support you with their dollars and their referrals because they truly believe in the value you bring to this world. I'm sure you have plenty of friends that are just, yeah, okay, good job, go get it. And then that's it. There's no real enthusiasm and support. Being friends with women who are on the same journey that you're on, again, who get it, it makes the world of difference. So yeah, I pay for high caliber friends. And along with hiring a personal coach, it has been the best investment in my personal and professional development. Okay, number 3, this is huge right here. So like really tune in. Quit comparing yourself. The number 1 instigator of imposter syndrome is comparison. So often we are comparing our level 1 to someone else's level 100. Not only do we feel bad about ourselves when we do this, but we also begin to get frustrated that we have been working so hard, doing all the things, and yet we're not there yet. Can I keep it real with you? Because that's just who I am and what I do. Becoming the leader you envision, the woman you envision, becoming the best version of you, it takes time. And just like Tracy said, you must be willing to seek out opportunities. You must be willing to say yes when invited. And don't be afraid to network. Becoming the woman living out her max potential, it requires you to leave your comfort zone, to take risks, to know your value, and to never let failure stop you. Knowing your value is so important. And I've seen it time and time again that women will relate their personal worth, their personal value with that of the offer that they are presenting to the world. And when somebody rejects the offer, they absorb that on themselves and they feel rejected. Your worth as a person has nothing to do with the offer you are making. So understand your value is separate from the value you provide to your client or your customer. Okay? Super important. That's like step 3.5. Ladies, it has been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you today. And if you are new to the Women Leaders Association podcast, be sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Ooh-wee, I could keep going on with all the goodness from today's speech. And to know this is just a segment of what she brought to the stage. If you are wanting more, you've got to go check out our Women Leaders membership. You get full access to the entire speech of every speaker you will hear from on this show. Plus, You learn how you can join our Women Leaders Mastermind and Referral Networks, and tons of other resources to equip and empower you for more. Simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com. Again, womenleaderspodcast.com. Because here at the Women Leaders Association, we believe we go further, faster, and have more fun when we go together. That's all for today, my friends. Bye for now.